Hello everyone, welcome along to this evening's or this afternoon's rather Step 4 Getting Started webinar for Human Resources. So thank you all for coming along. My name is Stephen Quinn, I'm one of the Learning Support Officers here at Open Colleges, and today I'll be conducting the introduction webinar for you. So just to make sure I have everybody can hear me rather, please just click the raise hand function, which is on the questions bar that should be on your screen. Great, I have nearly everyone. Great, not everybody has audio, fantastic. Okay, then while I have the questions bar up on the screen, please feel free to pop in any questions you have throughout the webinar. Should only take 15-20 minutes or thereabouts, but if you have any questions as we go through, please pop them into the questions bar and I will address them at the end of the webinar. Also as well, below the questions bar, there should be two handouts for you, which we'll quickly run through. So one is the study plan template, which is really handy for you to organize your weekly schedule for study, and also as well the handy hints guide that David Lang has designed for you, which is your first webinar or your first assessment, and he's broken down each part of that assessment and given you tips on how to answer it. Great, so to get started, we're just going to log into Open Space. So this webinar is for everyone that's in the E1068. Some of you might be in a slightly different variant, so you might have a DT after it or some other letters as well, but it is just a generalized webinar to go through how to use Open Space. So don't worry if you have a different serial code on your course codes, that's okay. Great, so to get started, this is your homepage, and most of you should be familiar with it by now. Anywhere that you see David's picture, as you can see here, you can just click on that and that'll take you to the message center. You'll be able to send David a message from here. Depending on where you are in the website when you do click his picture, it will label it accordingly. So if you message him from the homepage, it'll just have the name of the course. But further into the webinar, I'll show you how to message him from an assessment, and you'll see that the subject title is actually the name of the assessment. So you can get straight into asking those questions about the assistance you might need with the assessment, and you don't need to worry that he won't know where you're talking about. So if you've navigated anywhere in the website and you need to get back to the homepage, just click on the Learn icon. This will take you home. Great, so also beside David, you've got your progression bar. Your progression bar is the best way to keep yourself on track. Again, this is a dummy account, so please don't worry about the amount of assessments or the lack of assessments rather in my progression bar. Everyone's will be individual as well based on the electives that you choose. Your progression bar, the percentage is the best way to, I find it's really good for motivation, and it's really encouraging to see that percentage grow, and also as well then counting off the amount of assessments that you have remaining as well. So below you've got your discussion forum, latest on my trainer, and recent activity. So we'll start with recent activity. Recent activity is basically like that mini part of Facebook that sits up the top right hand corner. It just pops up any kind of announcements that other students have done. So you can see, for example, the one on the screen at the moment is Andrea has submitted an assessment. So well done, Andrea, who I think is actually in the webinar today. So it'll just pop up little piece of information like that. Also as well, it'll pop up if you've changed your profile picture. So it's nothing too untoward. By default, your privacy settings have been hidden, so you don't need to worry about that if you don't want anyone to see what you've been up to. Great. So on the left hand side, you've got your discussion forum, and again, like we said, we've latest from my trainer. So what latest from my trainer does is any post that David or any of your other assessors post on the discussion forum just get isolated to the right. So you can always just check in and see what the latest thing David has posted is, so you don't have to scroll all the way to the bottom through all of the other conversations that students have started as well. With the discussion forum, you can post yourself, so if you want to get a conversation going with other students, feel free to do so. Do a shout out if you want to get a study buddy or a group of study buddies together, or also if you just want to talk about the course in general, feel free to pop a discussion up. Great, so we'll start navigating through the learning material. So the first option on the left hand side is your course overview. Again, this is a bit like the brochure you would have seen on enrollment. It's just a breakdown of the course itself, the units that are to be completed, and also as well a breakdown of those elective units too. So it's good sometimes just to read back through and remember what units will be coming up in the course. The next option you have is your additional resources section. So again, this is where you'll find like the handouts from today are also in here as well. You can see they're down at the bottom. You'll have some case studies in here for most of your assessments. So you've got your Macfield Cafe cases study scenario here. So as you work through some assessments or some of the learning material, it'll refer you back to the additional resources section to get those additional pieces of material to help you out. Great. So moving into your learning material. So when you start in the first unit, which is Review Human Resources, you have your learning material, which is 1.1 down to 1.8, and then you have the 3 assessments that are based on that material. So 1.1 down to 1.8 and the learning activities that are in there as well are just for practice, and it's just a run through. So if you don't complete every activity in 1.1 to 1.8, it's not the end of the world. It won't affect your overall grade. Those activities that are in there are just for practice, or what a lot of students will use them for is revision activities later on in the course. The only items that do need to be completed is anything that has the letter A before it, as you can see here. These indicate that these are assessments that need to be completed as part of the overall qualification. So when you start working through your learning material, if you want, if you're a bit old school like me and you prefer working off paper and getting those textures out and highlighting everything, you can just click the download print topic icon, which will download this as a PDF for you, which you can then print off and highlight and mark as needed. Also as well, if you want to take notes as you're going through, you can make mini notes on each discussion or each topic as you go through. These topics though are like mini discussion forums as well, so other students will see your posts and you'll be able to see theirs. So as you work through the material, like I said, you'll come across some of these learning activities. They are indicated with the pink jigsaw puzzle. But like I've said before, these are for practice, and they're just to help you out as you go through. Again, most of them will ask you to share your answers below, and you can chat with other students about those activities as well. So the first assessment that you're due to complete is your multiple choice quiz. So the great thing about a multiple choice is it doesn't take physically as much time as a written report will do, and there's a couple of different ways you can tackle it as well. You can do it all in one go if you want. You can start it, log out, log back in as many times as you want. There is no time constraint on that first multiple choice quiz either, so you can, like I said, log in and log out as much as you want up until you've clicked finish on that first attempt. With all of your assessments, both multiple choice quizzes and your written assessments, you will have 3 attempts with Open Colleges. So again, like I said before, if you want to message David about any assessment or any of your other trainers or assessors, just click on his picture over the assessment. And as you can see, it's labeled it differently, like I said. So it'll have the name of the quiz there, so you can just jump straight in and ask for assistance with, say, question 4, and he'll know it's question 4 that's related to the first quiz in Unit 1. So to start taking the quiz, you need to click in. Click your first attempt. So you can see it's really straightforward. A few different options after each question. Select the answers that you think are correct. Then click next and move on to the next set of questions. So when you have clicked next and you move on to the next set, everything beforehand has been saved for you. So you can close out of this, go back to the main page, go back through the learning material if you need to revise, and you can start the quiz again. It still counts as your first attempt until you've actually gone right to the end and clicked finish. So you can log in and log out, like I said, as much as you want up until you've clicked finish on that first attempt. So your first written report is up next. So again, like I said before, another great reason to message your trainers from the assessment that you're working on is because like that you can see you have different assessors and different trainers depending on the assessments as well. So Jeremy Dryden actually looks after this assessment, even though David has developed the material for it as well. So if you do have any questions in regards to this assessment, it is better to message Jeremy as he specialises with this assessment in particular. So to get started, you download your assessment, which will come in Word document format. You just click Enable Editing, scroll down, pop in your name and your student number. If you can't remember your student number, if you can't find the email that it's on, just give the guys in student support a call. They'll be able to let you know. So because this is a Word document, you can just complete it within the document we've given you. Just need to key in your answer, move through all of the activities, and make sure you click save. I recommend every 10 seconds so that you don't lose any work, or just get into the habit of hitting Control and S as you work through, which will save your work for you. So again, like I said before, David has developed this handy hint document for you. He's broken down each of the questions and given you advice on how to tackle those as well. So you can see, for example, with the first activity, which is review the business strategy and human resources strategy and identify 3 resources issues for review. He said to read the entire case study and identify issues that relate to how the company is currently managing staffing processes or issues that could have an impact in the future. These might not clearly be listed as being related to HR management, so you'll need to conduct detailed research in all policies, procedures and documentations to check where the information is listed. Keep a detailed record and reference of where you found this information so that you can locate the details when needed to complete the assessment questions. So he's just done with question 1. He's broken down each of those questions for you in your first assessment to help you out. So for those of you who come in late, this document is right below the questions section that you should see on your screen, or also it's in the additional resources section on Open Space. So between the handy hint sheet, your own abilities and going through the learning material, you'll be able to complete that assessment. So when you are finished, click on Submit. You can either drag and drop the file to this area, or you can click Browse Files and attach the file the same way you would if you're attaching a file to an email. That then goes through to Jeremy. And again, it's the same process. You do have 3 attempts, although with a written assessment, it takes a little bit longer to grade for you. So it can take up to 3 business days to be graded, whereas a multiple choice quiz is assessed instantly. That process will then continue down for the rest of your units. So when you're waiting on your grades, you need to find out where they are. You can click on the My Grades area. In here, you'll find your results. So below My Grades, it'll horizontally have the name of the assessment that you completed. If it's a written assessment, you can click on the assessment itself, which will open up your review document. So Jeremy or David will have gone through, reviewed all of those activities that you've completed, letting you know in areas that you might need to improve on, if it's a case that it's not yet competent, and also letting you know what areas you're doing really well in as well. So some additional features of the website are, again, you've got your message center up here in the My Profile area. So you can always check back in here on any of the messages that you've had with David or Jeremy or your other trainers or assessors. You can go back through and review those chats as well. You can message David from here as well. The only difference is it doesn't label anything for you. So it's up to you to let him know which assessment you are talking about. The next area is My Profile. So it's good if you want to personalize your open space a little bit more, you can pop in some details about yourself. But again, the most important part of My Profile is that privacy settings area. So if you do want to hide your activity from the privacy or from the activity feed, just knock that up to yes. Some additional tips to help you out with your assessments can be located under Support. So go to Support, More Support, and then Study Tips and Resources. So right down the bottom is the 5 most popular asked questions. The main 2 is how do I format my assessments and what is referencing. So they're 2 great guides to go through. I've also included for you as well a link for a great YouTube tutorial we have on referencing, which should be in the chat section now. You should see it on your screen. If not, just send me through a message afterwards that you can't see it and I'll send you the link. It's a great tutorial which teaches you how to reference correctly the Harvard way using Microsoft Word. So it makes it really easy for you, and it'll reference automatically any of the references that you've used from the internet and from books as well with your assessments. So also as well at Open Colleges, you do have 3 different types of support. So the main one we've touched on is your trainer support. So again, if you have any questions in regards to the learning material or assessments, you can send them through to David. He's more than happy to help. And if he's not the right trainer for that assessment, he'll direct you to who you need to message through to. But do let him know if you're struggling at all. He's fantastic. He's really dedicated and he really loves helping out. So send him through a message. Also as well, you've got student support. So the student support phone number is always on the bottom of the screen. If you need to reach out, you don't know who to ask or you don't know what's going on, just call student support. They'll be able to direct you through to the right person. And also as well, you've got us in learning support. So if you want to book in for a 20-30 minute phone call appointment with us, and we can run through any issues that you might be having as well, just key in support into the search bar on the top of the screen. The first option is how do I make a learning support appointment? Click on the booking link. Pop in your details, making sure you use the email address that you used when you enrolled with us. Pop in the requirements that you might have, the best times to catch you. And if there's really specific times or really specific requirements you need, just pop that into the requirements bar and click submit. So also as well, like I said, I've included a study plan template for you, which is really handy to help you plan out your time, like we've just done with our demo one here. Making sure that you give yourself enough time every week of dedicated study so that you can put everything else aside and complete your course. For those of you who would like some extra attention on your study planners, please again book in for a learning support appointment. We can run through your individual circumstances and break down the amount of assessments you have left into the time frame that you have and assist you where we can to get that study underway and to get your course completed. So that concludes the run through of how to use open space and just getting started with your first few assessments. If anybody has any questions, again, please feel free to pop them into the questions bar that's on the screen for you. Or if you don't have those attachments, or if you can't see the YouTube link that I've left there for you, please let me know as well in the questions bar and I'll send that to you. If you don't have any questions, again, thank you very much for coming along today. I really appreciate it and I hope you found it of benefit. And if you need to get back in touch with us, please do. Just reply to the email that was sent out to you with the booking form and we can get back in touch. So if you haven't got any questions, again, thanks very much for coming along. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll sit here and I'll wait for some questions from everyone else. Thank you. Great, so we just had a first question come in there. So one of our students just wants to know how she can actually log into the website. So you'll need to go to our homepage, which is www.opencolleges.edu.au. And click on the Open Space login portal, and from the email that you would have received with your login details, with your username and your password, just key those in and you'll have direct access to Open Space. If you haven't got that email with your login details, you'll need to call student support. Their number is on the screen. They can provide those login details for you again and advise you on how to log in.